Hello and welcome to the 76th episode of the Accountant's Success Secrets podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Mark Lee. I'm a mentor, speaker and debunker.
And I'm Philippa Haynes, a branding expert for accountants, supporting you to stand out.
Each week on the podcast, we showcase another experienced accountant or bookkeeper who we think can inspire and encourage other accountants and bookkeepers in practice.
We both recognise that every accountant and bookkeeper is unique and distinct. They have different backgrounds, experiences, and reasons for starting and building their practices.
So we ask them to share their stories, including the highs, the lows, and what they've learned along the way. We look to explore what makes them different in terms of their background, their successes, their failures, and their focus.
And our aim is purely to provide some fundamental insights for others like you, our loyal listeners.
And if you'd like to share your story in a similar way, do please get in touch with Philippa or me. We're now booking guests for November and December. Incredible.
Yeah. So today is our 62nd interview, and we are delighted to introduce Arun Mehra, who is the owner and CEO of Samera. Arun founded the practice 23 years ago after qualifying as a chartered accountant with PwC and a subsequent role with Bank America. He has built Samera into a firm of specialist business advisors covering accounting, tax, funding, startups, buying practices, exit planning, and AI development. Samera has a unique set with a team of around a dozen in the UK and 40 or so in India. Their primary focus is dentists, dental groups, and dental service organisations in the UK and around the world. Outside of his business interests, Arun is an active member of his local community, a scout leader, and regular fundraiser for many charitable organisations.
Welcome, Arun. I remember meeting you earlier this year at a conference for digital accountants, and I was so pleased that you agreed to join us on the podcast. Well, what would you like to add to that introduction?
Well, firstly, a huge thank you for having me on your wonderful podcast, Philippa and Mark. As you highlighted, I've been in this game a long time, as you can see by the grey hair, and it's been a roller coaster ride over the last 20 odd years. 23 when you said that, my goodness, and things are changing at such a rapid pace. When I started, it was changing, and even now it's changing, and I think it's going to be changing even when I'm kind of heading even older. So yeah, I'm willing to share all my knowledge, experience. Please fire away all your questions.
Oh, that's fantastic. Really looking forward to it. So before we start, we must thank the sponsor of our podcast, Pinnacle Global Group, the trusted offshoring partner to over 150 accounting and bookkeeping firms across the UK and Ireland, led by London-based chartered accountant Mayank Pandya. With offices in London and Mumbai and a team of over 300 professionals, Pinnacle provides both compliance resourcing from accountants, bookkeepers and payroll admins to tax and audit associates, and also value-added support, including management accountants, virtual finance controllers, financial analysts, and more. They're GDPR compliant, ISO certified, covered by professional indemnity insurance, and offer flexible models. That's full-time, part-time, or pay as you go. You can even start with a trial period or join their sponsored trip to Mumbai to meet the team in person. Find out more at www.pinnacleoss.co.uk or click the link wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Also supporting the podcast is the Tax Advice Network. Their website enables accountants to choose specific specialist tax advisors for general tax support or for help across any of over 100 areas of tax. It's free to use the website. You just pay the tax advisor that you choose after agreeing terms with them, whether for ad hoc advice or a regular tax clinic type support service. Go take a look at their website, findataxadvisor.online, where you can also register to get their weekly tax tips, which are written especially for general practitioner accountants.
Yep. And finally, before we start the interview, you can also now subscribe to our podcast on the Patreon platform. This is where you can show your love and support for Accountant Success Secrets and also subscribe for exclusive Patreon-only extras.
Yeah, it's really exciting that. You'll need to download the Patreon app, but once you're subscribed, you can get the extra episodes via your normal podcast platform. You'll find details of what to do in our normal podcast notes and on the Accountant Success Secrets pages on Facebook and on LinkedIn. But if you have any trouble, just get in touch with Philippa or me.
Yeah. Now back to Aaron. As you know, we aim to keep the podcast to around 30 minutes. And we do that by focusing the discussion around a few key questions.
Okay, so I'll go first, and we'll go back to the beginning, Aaron. How and why did you set up your own accounting practice?
Oh, good question. And how and why? Yeah. So why? So I trained as you mentioned, as an accountant with PwC. Stayed there for a few years in London with them. Went into investment banking as an equity analyst, earning very good money. But honestly, I really didn't enjoy the experience, the culture, the long hours. All of these things were kind of telling me, "Oh, Aaron, what are you doing here?" It wasn't right for me. I just knew. So I thought, right, what can I do? I have an accounting qualification. And I thought, well, maybe I could start a business, but I had no idea what business to start. So I then thought, oh, what business could it be that I do then? I kind of know accounting a little bit, okay? But I'd worked for a big four, starting up my own small firm, which I did do eventually, was the biggest shock of my life, realizing, oh my God, I don't have different departments to help me with everything. It's basically me who is the accountant, the toilet cleaner, and everything else, okay, the marketeer and everything. And so when I started, I very recently just got married to my wife, Samera, and thankfully we're still married. And she was a dentist. She is a dentist, okay, and she'd been working for other dental companies, dental groups, that type of thing. And she had an inkling that she wanted to start her own clinic as well. So we were both in the same boat in our mid to late 20s, thinking, what are we going to do? Both unhappy in our kind of respective roles. So I said, well, I'm going to quit and start an accounting firm for dentists. I saw her lack of knowledge of business, basically. And that was the impetus to kick it off. And here we are 23 years later, still going.
Yeah, and they say the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. You're right, Philippa. And I think when we started out, I started up the firm whilst my wife was still working for someone else, and then started to get that one client, which took forever and a day to get. And then my wife then decided she's going to quit her job and she's going to start her own clinic. So we had to get funding, we had to raise finance, do all these things to get that type of first clinic, which was in Wandsworth in southwest London, and which is still standing. And literally at that moment when we signed the lease, we found out we were having our first child as well. And so everything had come to kind of together in a kind of, oh my God, how are we going to deal with this scenario? But you know what, as a team, you pulled together. Our son was born. He's 21 in the next couple of weeks. And we've just got the momentum going. And to be fair, it's been a real teamwork effort. Myself and my wife, we both support each other. And that's been a real key element of the business as well. Key element.
Yeah, and it's lovely. No, I was just going to say it's lovely actually, because you're obviously niching with dentists, and as you've said, it goes further than that, sort of GP or whatever. But you have that insight at home, of what's going on with the dental practice. It's not like you just niching for no reason and actually you don't know any more than anybody else. In fact, you actually do, because you're living and breathing it every day. So your advice is very spot on.
It's personal, it's lived experience. And I think that's predominantly why so many people come to us now, is because we've lived and breathed it. And we've seen all the problems, every issue, from all the financial issues, but not just financial, marketing issues, all the business issues, the HR issues. We've seen it, so we can share our experience. So one of the things that we do every 6 months now, we do run some kind of business boot camps for dentists, run by myself and my wife, who's Smita, who runs that. And that's a great insight for people, especially the younger generation who want to own their own clinics, because we're combining our insight of experience and trying to help people to avoid the mistakes that we made.
Yeah, and I was saying earlier before we recorded that it must, because there are a lot of private practices out there now, I sort of probably, like most people, said, oh, earning lots of money and stuff. But as you were saying, it's actually quite a difficult industry. Most clinics, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, running a dental business is not as easy. You might see the bottom line number, but it's a lot of sweat going into that, physical sweat, a lot of risk to set up a new clinic these days. You're not short, probably near £500,000. It's very competitive. NHS tenders are very rare to get now, so that's why so many people are going private. Patients are more demanding, it's more litigious. There's a whole variety of staff issues, of lack of staff. So it's a whole range of things that make it a difficult industry. And therefore, people rely on people like us to support them and understand and build their businesses.
And to help them sell. I saw on your website you help with exits, and I'm just thinking about one dentist I used for a while. The practice changed hands at least twice whilst I was with them, and I can imagine that they need advice on how to structure those effectively.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's a whole sales process that has to be, and we help buyers raise finance, we help sellers structure it right and tax plan it right, all these things that we're involved in. So we've got 20 odd years of experience of doing that. Okay. Now there are obviously other players in the market now, but I think when we started out all those years ago, we were quite a niche proposition, and I suppose other people have seen the opportunities in this market. But I still think by having our own dental clinics, that gives us a real insight that most accountants probably may not have. Not all, but most.
Yeah, and I mean that leads to the one of the questions, which is, are you, when you set up, did you think that this is where you'd be 24 years later, or
yes,
or what's changed?
I think when I set up, I had no idea, to be honest with you. I think you think what's going to take 6 weeks might sometimes take 6 years. Okay, that's the truth in business. Okay, and
yeah,
but I think also running my own firm, honestly, afforded me the luxury to have a balancing act, to have children, grow children, be kind of pretty hands-on father, and that was a really important thing to me. Okay, and I was very lucky to be able to do that. Now my kids are, one's is at university, one's about to go hopefully in the next year. So I'm not so involved. So that's why I'm much more involved in my business now. I've got enough experience. I'm still going, so I'm still doing it. So if you ask that question, is it where I expected it to be? I don't know, but you know what? I'm happy where it is. To be honest with you, I'm actually very happy where it is. I think for many years there were lots of problems and stuff, and I'm not saying there aren't problems now, but I'm really enjoying running the business now because I have an awesome team. I'm enjoying the clients we have, and I'm enjoying the AI side of things as well, the technology side of things as well. So I think there's a whole range of things that are changing, and I think as an accountant, I know many accountants kind of are fearful of change. I love change. I love embracing the next thing and seeing what's going to happen and how it goes. So it affords me that kind of need I have, I guess, for a little bit of excitement in accounting.
I love that, and I think we'll particularly focus on the AI side of things in our extra interview for Patreons afterwards. So let's go back there and reflect over the last 20 plus years. What have you learned along the journey that's helped you to get where you are now, and that others perhaps can learn from too?
I think the number one thing I learned in business, okay, is when I started out, I thought the client was the most important. I don't believe that anymore. Okay, I think your team are the most important people. Okay, they are the most important people. The right team. Okay, not every team member, but the right team. Okay,
yeah.
And that was something that I've learned over the years. And I think so many firms still focus on clients and neglect the welfare and the well-being of their teams. And and I think that is the number one thing. That's the key to success, in my view. Obviously, you've got to get the marketing right. You've got to price it right. You've got to get the right clients as well. Also, you don't want to get. I've had clients you take on board and you think, oh my goodness, what a headache. Okay, we don't really want you. They might be paying good fees, but you know what? They're damaging the culture. They're damaging the welfare of my team. Honestly, sooner you go, the better. So, sometimes you've got to make some difficult decisions, and that impacts you financially. But you know what? You've got to do the right thing for the team. So I think the team is. That would be my number one tip to anyone starting out or running a firm. Don't worry about the clients. Worry on building that wonderful team who you trust, you respect, you like. And sometimes those good team members will go. And you know what? If they go, great, let them go. Let them fly in their own direction. I think I celebrate that. Okay, so I think you've done a good job if they feel confident enough to go and say start up their own firm or do anything like that. So I think that would be my number one tip.
I think that is awesome. I'm sorry, Philip, I'll just say this, let you come in. I commented on a post from an accountancy influencer earlier today who'd listed a whole range of things that they've learned over many years. And one of them was hire fast, fire faster. And I thought, it's a great list, but that I don't agree with that at all. You want to hire right rather than repeat age-old statements that we hear a lot of people who haven't really thought about it. I bet you don't hire fast. You hire
I've made
right.
that mistake. I have made that mistake, to be brutally honest with you. And you realise, you think, oh my, and that was probably where that was in my kind of difficult years. You're just hiring people for the sake of hiring because you need people, and then you realise, oh my god, that's a headache. And you're right, it's hire right, okay. And if you don't hire if you don't need to, or just wait for that right person to come along. And it goes about that. You get some people. I get people who come to me who are very skilled and very qualified, but you then get a feeling they're not going to be a good fit within the team, or culturally not right. And that's a really important thing as well. So I take my time, and now I have the luxury of having a larger team and having team members who can help me through the hiring process. But when I started out, I hired that one person, my initial person. I'll give you a very interesting story. I got my very first dental client. This was back in 2002, 2003, whenever it was, okay. And I went to the client. They were based in Essex, and I went to their clinic, and they came into the foyer, and they gave me a massive box of papers, and my heart sank. I thought, oh my goodness, I have no idea what to do with this. Okay, I'd been working at PwC or banking. I'd like no idea what to do. And I thought, God, is this what my life's going to be? So the first thing I did then is I put an advert into the job centre in kind of the southwest London area. I think I need someone who can help me. And I had a few interviews. I hired one guy, a young guy at the time, Mehen, from Sri Lanka, and honestly, he was a brilliant, best hire ever. Lovely guy. And he worked with me, and he came to my dad's. We were living in my dad's house at the time, and he started working on the dining table with me. Okay, and he stayed with me for almost 15 years. Okay, so he was a lovely guy, and we're still friends. And he's doing his own thing now, working for a lot. He always had the aspiration to work for a large corporate. I said, yeah, that's fine, but you know what? It's special people, and he didn't have all the right qualifications, but he had such a lovely demeanor about him, and everyone loved him. All the clients loved him, and and when we lost him, it was a bit of a hit. Well, it was quite a bit of a hit, okay, but you rebuild and you keep going. That's the part thing. It's the team. It's getting those right people and getting the chemistry. That's key.
Yeah. So drilling down into this, looking after the team, what does that actually mean? Give us some examples, because I think sometimes we have these broad brush kind of things that we say, statements, and then but what is it?
Point. I think the fair point. I think you can. You're right. You can just make a statement, but what does that actually mean? Okay. And so
it's just so people pick it out and can see.
Yeah. I have team members in the UK. I have team members in India. I think the bottom line is you actually care about them. I think that sometimes people actually forget. These are people. They have families. They have parents. They have children. They have illnesses. You actually care about them. So, like all my team are pretty much remote. Okay, across India, UK, they're remote. So I don't know what they're doing. Okay, I give them the flexibility to deal with their issues in life, their flexibility of their hours, that type of thing. Ultimately, all I'm interested in is that they're getting the job done, they're helping their team members. It's trust. Okay. Now, sometimes we've hired people where it hasn't worked. Okay, we couldn't trust them. There were issues arising, but 8 to 9 times out of 10, we've got a good formula now. And I think it just goes back to the basics of actually giving a damn about your team member. You see cultures where people talk about all of this, a bit with work culture they talk about, but then there's a sense of fear within the organization, that type of thing, and you don't want that. That's just toxic. It's just horrible. Okay, I've worked in that environment. Investment banking is built on that premise, fear. Okay, and then every year you get a bigger bonus, a bigger carrot to dangle to keep you in that cycle of kind of horridness. Okay, and I broke free of it, luckily, on those days. Now, I don't earn as much, or I was probably earning a lot more money if I'd stayed in investment banking. I'm pretty sure I would have done, and I know some of my friends who did, and financially wonderful. But honestly, they had a pretty miserable life. Okay, so it's actually just caring about your colleagues, their needs. Okay, giving the flexibility what they need. They can go to all my team go dealing with picking up children, taking children. I don't really, just do what you need to do. Okay, get on with it. We all have life. I had this issues, so I'm sure everyone else will have the same issues.
Yeah. So let's pick up on this India and UK kind of team, because obviously that's not necessarily that usual. I was going to say normal, and then I was like, no, that's it's quite unusual just to have a team like that across two different markets, isn't it? So
yeah. So many years ago, when I started my firm, relatively early, we did start to do some outsourcing to firms in India, to third-party firms in India, and it kind of worked. But then the technology wasn't good. There was always some problem arising, and manpower. The English speaking in those days, he's talking 10, 15 years ago, it was there, but it's hit and miss. Okay, so just before COVID, I took the decision I'm going to close everything down in India, to be honest with you, and I brought all the work back to my UK team. Then COVID happened, and I thought, oh my goodness, what a disaster. Okay, I've made the biggest blunder of my life. I brought all the work here. I can't find anyone to do the work here, and all my clients are moaning, saying, what's going on? And we started having clients leave. Okay, so we then had to rebuild, and I thought, post-COVID, well, we do need to there's no chance I'm finding anyone here. We're going to have to do something in India again, but rather than use a third-party firm, we're going to set up our own infrastructure and everything in India. And that's exactly what I did. So we set up a company in India, we took our first hire, and then we built basically from that. And historically, when we used to do outsourcing before, we would never, to be honest, we never really told our clients we were doing it. Okay, we kept it hidden. Oh no, we don't use India. We just kind of, the gut managers in the UK are managing it. Now we're very upfront and open about it. Everything's done in India. Clients talk to the key team members they need to talk to in India. The job gets done much quicker. The clients are much happier. And it's a lot less stressful, to be brutally honest with you. I'm not saying it's perfect, okay? But setting up our own operation changed my firm drastically. Changed it for the better. And I mean, now that allows me to do the other things I want to pursue, like the AI side of things we briefly talked about, and to grow the firm. And that's where my main focus is, to grow. So I have a stable team that can deliver the work that we are doing.
I love that. And when we have a reflections episode next week, I'm going to reflect on that, because I have a long-standing mentoring client who has a completely remote team based around the world. Because and I think COVID did this for a lot of practices. You suddenly realize that if your staff aren't all coming into the office, does it really matter whether they are around the corner in a different city in England or somewhere else in the world, as long as the work's getting done to the standard you want it done?
Correct. I totally agree.
And you've got all the security.
Yeah, that goes without saying. That has to be in place. All these things have to be in data security and GDPR, whatever has to be done technology-wise. But I think you're right. You can have people dotted around the world. They can do the work. And one of the great things about India, we find that we get work coming in, and in the time zone, they're getting it done the night before, and the next day it's there, really, basically. Yeah. It's all done, which is like fantastic. And the client's like, wow, okay, how did that happen so quickly? So there are huge advantages. But a big thing is it takes time. You need to understand who you trust. You've got to build it slowly. And you've got to put effort into it. And as I said earlier, they're not kind of an extension of your UK team. They really aren't. They're part of your whole team. Okay. And so I talk to my team members in India numerous times a day. My other colleagues here in the UK talk to back and forth. It's constant conversations. We bring team members from India to here. We take team members from here to India. We've as an example, booking all the team members in India. We're taking them to Thailand in February next year as a trip. It's just these things, like to bond the team, get them working. It's these things matter, okay? Yeah. And my job is to keep and retain motivated talent. Really, that's my job.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it. Having talked about all of that, can we pick up on any other mistakes that you've made beyond the wrong hires, and how you've learned from them and corrected them?
Yeah, I think one of the things, where do I start? I think one of the things is on the marketing front. Okay, so in my early days, I'd come out from a Big Four banking, kind of way too arrogant for my own good. Okay, and I thought, oh, it's going to be easy to get clients, and I got a wake-up call really in my first year. I remember advertising in some dental journals. I must have spent about £20,000, a lot of money back in those days. Even now, it's a lot of money. Okay, but even then, it was really a lot of money, and I got 0 clients. I thought, oh my goodness, from that ad, it's like 0, 0, 0. I thought, oh my God, I've been conned here. I don't know what to do. So that taught me that I have to really put effort into marketing, and that's been really a large part of my business for the last 20 years. And I actually love doing the marketing side of things. So that's really helped me grow. So I started off, when we started out the Samera, we started off doing newsletters on a weekly basis through email. Then we started doing videos on YouTube. Then we started just good content marketing. And then we started to be found on SEO wise on Google. So all of these things were real good foundations and a good learning curve for me. And that's kind of what I've continued doing. Not just me, but I have a team that can support me now to do that. Based some in India, some in the UK. And that's been a really important aspect of the business. Because you can spend a lot on marketing and you can get 0 results, okay? So you need to know where to put your money, where to put your efforts, and then be patient as well and build that trust. The key is to build that trust. There have been times where you make mistakes. Of course you do. We're all human, okay? Firms make mistakes. I've also made a mistake where we've taken on the wrong clients, as I alluded to earlier. You take on clients that the fee might be good, but you know what? They're just honestly toxic, and you need to kind of get rid of them as quickly as possible. I think those are the things that kind of spring to mind.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so it's so important, and I love the admission. Thank you. That stepping out Big Four, arrogant, I'm an accountant. People will flock to me. It doesn't happen like that. The number of
who are you? No, no one cares who you are, to be honest with you. And I think, I've got friends of mine who are partners in the Big Four, okay, and who I'm in touch with still, and they think it's so easy out there in the real world, but it's not. They obviously they make a lot of money as a Big Four partner, but I think when they retire and they think they can start off their own consulting, that type of thing. The reality hits home to them. It's like, it's not easy. How did you do it, Aaron?
Really
difficult. Really difficult.
That's another one that you often see in here. I'll save it for the reflections episode because time is marching on.
Time is marching on.
Yeah, having heard all of that, just before I ask Aaron to share his contact details, what would you say makes Samera unique and successful from your perspective?
Well, I think just the 30 minutes that we've had says it all, really. There's all kinds of things going on, niching, and the kind of the offices across 2 different countries, and also I just think you're obviously very well rounded, Aaron. I think even
maybe I am, but I also believe,
I think you are.
I think I think also you got to don't take things too seriously as well. Okay, we're a chartered accountancy firm. Okay, I value what we do, and our clients value what we do. But the world is, as we know, is a interesting place at the moment. Okay, and there are lots of big issues out there. But I think ultimately, if we can support each other, support other accountancy firms, support our clients, I think that's all we can do. And I have the privilege of having a wonderful team. I have the privilege of being a chartered accountant. Okay, and sometimes you forget that. It's a real privilege to have that. And I kind of do a lot of work in India, and I meet with lots of Indian accountants as well. And they want to do well and grow. And I'm just trying to impart my experience of the mistakes I've made, and I've just alluded to a few. I'm sure there's plenty more I could talk about for hours with you today. But experience teaches you a lot of things, but also being humble is really important as well.
Yeah, lovely. Well, you've got, if I were a dentist, I would be signing up right now.
Thank you. Go tell your dentist friends.
Yeah, I will do.
Arun, how can listeners find out more about you and your practice? What's the best ways for anyone?
Yeah, so I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if anyone wants to find me on LinkedIn, it's Arun Mehra. That's me. You'll find me with the FCA on there somehow, I think. I'm also, my website for the business is samera.co.uk, samera.co.uk. My email, arun@samera.co.uk. Feel free to reach out to me on email. Happy to have a chat and discuss things. I do have a YouTube channel, which we're growing and developing as well, and sharing videos and just ideas and topics. At some point, I will be launching a WhatsApp group. I haven't got around to it. There's too many things going on in life. Just to support people. I think many accountants, I think many small to medium-sized firms need support, like you're doing here with this, Mark, okay, and Philippa. And I think that's what they need. They don't know where to turn to. Very recently, I've just started with the ICAEW being kind of one of their SME firm. Kind of, we do a thing every month or two on supporting other firms, and we get a lot of reach out from ICAEW firm members on this, and I'm enjoying that. And it's the problems we see in firms are pretty standard. They're all pretty much the same, and you just need a route or a sounding board to discuss these types of things. So. Yeah, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and yeah, let's keep going, let's keep pushing, let's keep helping others together.
Great stuff.
Absolutely love it. In our bonus interview for Patreon subscribers, we'll ask you to talk about the biggest challenge you're currently facing, but in particular, how you're integrating AI into your practice and the services you're providing to clients as well. I'm particularly excited to hear that. But before that, Philippa, how can listeners find out more about you and Insight 101?
So I support accountants and bookkeepers to stand out so they can create their brand story and marketing, including their website, which Arun has so eloquently talked about the importance of. It's all about attracting and inspiring the ideal clients, ensuring that they build a path for the future. So you can find me on LinkedIn or on my website, www.insight101.co.uk. And Mark, what about you?
Well, one thing I've learned after years of working with accountants is that running their own practice can feel lonely, even when things look fine on the surface. If you'd like things to feel clearer, smoother, or more rewarding, that's where I come in, particularly if you don't have any business partners at the same level as you in your practice. You may have staff, but beyond that, there's nobody to share and use as a sounding board, as Arun mentioned just now. Whether you're after better clients, fewer frustrations, or more profit on your terms, I'm always happy to have a chat. There's no pressure, no pitch. Sometimes one good conversation is enough. Other times it might lead to us working together, perhaps regularly, or you joining my Soul Practice Club. Either way, the first step is easy. Just reach out. And in particular, do reach out and make sure you connect with Philippa and me on LinkedIn. And do please follow the podcast pages on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Patreon.
Yep, sadly, that's all we have time for today on the main podcast. But thank you very much, Arun. We could always talk for hours and hours, but the time flew by. Our thanks again go to the sponsors of the podcast, Pinnacle Global Group, your trusted outsourcing partner. Do check out their website and let their CEO, Mayank, know you heard about Pinnacle Global on the Accountant Success Secrets podcast.
And thanks to the Tax Advice Network, the easiest way for accountants to reach specialist tax advisors. Remember, there's no charge for using their website, findataxadvisor.online, where you can also access their weekly tax tips written especially for general practitioner accountants.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please share the love online, subscribe and leave a review on Apple, Spotify or YouTube. It all helps to broaden the reach of the podcast. And do contact myself or Mark if you'd like to be interviewed in a future episode.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much, Philippa. Thanks again, Arun. Another wonderful guest. Next week, we'll see another of our Reflections episodes. Before then, we're going to get some further insights from Arun for our Patreon subscribers. So do please head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Accountant Success Secret. singular, don't ask. And that's where you'll hear about the biggest challenges Arun's facing and his approach to them, but more particularly how he's integrating AI into the practice and into the services he delivers to clients. Otherwise, until next week or anywhere else we might meet online or in real life, bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.